So, I am Rebecca Harden, and this is my husband, Kenneth. And we are going to do our interview over public schools, our local politics. So, question number one: what are the responsibilities of local school boards? How are these responsibilities limited by the state? What are the responsibilities of the school board?
School boards control everything in the school, from the lesson or curriculum, I guess, and the full budget, future plans for the school as far as construction, expansion, demolition. I believe they have power over the employment process, hiring and firing of teachers, superintendents.
Okay. How are these responsibilities limited by the state?
State has laws in place limiting school board power. They have laws in place regarding the enrollment of students, as in, students, all students can be accepted within the bounds, I guess. Students from other districts and, city limits and everything like that have to go where they go.
Okay. How might community pressure affect the relationship between the local school board and the superintendent when district policies are determined?
School board is made up of individuals from the communities. Superintendent is also usually from the community. If they're hired from outside, they still live in the community whenever they are the superintendent. And the school board is made up of multiple people, whereas the superintendent is just one person. So the superintendent is going to have their opinion on whatever policy is being brought to them, and then the school board is going to have, every individual person on the school board is going to have their own opinion. So the superintendent's going to be, everybody throughout the community is going to be telling the superintendent what they want, and then the school board's going to be telling them what they want, and yeah.
Might be a big mess.
Yeah, it might be a huge mess. Why nothing ever gets done.
Should state departments of education control the size of school districts?
I think the State Department has to control the size of the school districts. The school districts themselves can't just say, hey, we're going to make our school district smaller, or hey, we're going to make it bigger. So somebody has to control it, whether it be the state government or the federal government.
Like an outside source?
Yeah.
Why?
Obviously, if some district says, hey, we want to make our district smaller, that means the districts around them now have to make their districts bigger. So that's not going to be feasible.
So their decision affects everybody?
Yeah.
Not just themselves?
That's why it's state government that controls it.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that, about how it affects everybody. Why should school districts consider consolidation? And what benefits could result, but what are the negatives also?
Consolidation could mean more funding. I mean, instead of funding for that district being spread out from 10 different schools, it could be spread out between 3 different schools. Obviously, it's just going to be cheaper. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is just being cheaper to maintain. 5 schools instead of 10. It's cheaper to run 5 schools instead of 10. It's obviously worse for the students. Students have, in consolidated schools, have bigger classroom sizes. They have less, I guess, one-on-one interaction with the instructors. They have possibly more friends, possibly less friends. There's more people.
Yeah. I know they actually give was like a bonus type thing to schools when they consolidate or something like that. What advantages do small schools have over large schools?
All schools have small classroom sizes, which usually equates to happier kids and happier teachers. There's more of a, I don't want to say family, but like a more friendly atmosphere, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes smaller schools don't have the learning materials that larger schools have because larger schools have a larger budget. Smaller schools don't always have a large budget, and sometimes those smaller schools are also having to put more money into their infrastructure because they're old schools, so they don't have as much money to spend on new technology as bigger schools who are new.
How might the legislatures actually slow down the educational change?
Legislators, depending on what laws get passed and what laws don't get passed as far as funding goes, or changes to any of the laws regarding schools and what they're required to do and what they're not required to do. Major one in our state is funding,
Yeah. I feel like they have no clue what's going on, that's why they keep changing it.
probably.
Then obviously if they keep changing it, then nothing's ever like put into place.
Yeah.
Describe the role of the federal government in education in recent years. A catastrophe.
I guess, yeah. Federal government they don't offer much as far as funding goes, compared to each school's budget as a whole. I know that federal governments don't offer probably much more than like 10 or 15% of the school's budget.
It's 8%.
Well, it's 8%, still
Yeah.
less. So they don't contribute much. The laws are passed regarding, students not being able to be denied anything for, their race, religion, gender, anything like that. Same with the instructors. Nobody can be denied employment because of their race, religion, gender, ethnicity, nothing like that. So.
Okay. I think that sums up our interview.
Is that it?
That's it. Thanks for participating.